Hi everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode with me, Danny. In today's tutorial, we are starting a brand new concept, talking about Google Data Studio. And Google Data Studio is not new. However, I haven't personally used it when it first launched, and I was trying to delay using it, thinking it's not important. For the past 2 months, I have been aggressively using Data Studio, and I can't tell you how important, intuitive, and fun it is to work with. Not only that, once you start using Data Studio, you will not go back to using Google Analytics as much, at least in terms of reporting, because it makes reporting so much fun and so much high level that you want to share all these reports with stakeholders, clients, and your managers. And that's exactly what Data Studio has been created for. Now, there are 3 elements to Data Studio. First is connection, basically your data sources. That's when you connect your data sources to Data Studio. The second part is visualization, and that's creating the reports in the best possible visual graphs that you can create. And the third element is sharing with stakeholders, managers, and obviously your customers. Let's get started with a very basic template, and we are going to start it from scratch. However, this particular dashboard, let's start calling them dashboards. This particular dashboard is going to be to give us an idea about our users, an overview of our page views, unique page views, sessions, users, and also bounce rate and exit percentage. Those elements are going to be on that dashboard, and we'll start right now. So this is a fresh account. I'm connecting my Data Studio. So once I click on Data Studio, the first thing you need to do is click on the plus sign here at the bottom. It's a little bit difficult to see for the first beginner. And then, as I mentioned, it's about 3 things: connect, visualize, and share. Let's get started. I acknowledge the terms and conditions of Google. Obviously, you will not be able unless you read it. So let's just go through it quickly and click on next. Now, Google Analytics and Google Data Studio would like some kind of, would like me to connect my email so that I can get notifications around tips and recommendations. Maybe I can sign in, maybe I can sign up for this. Product announcements, sure. Market research, probably not this one, and not offers. Great, let's go with done. Now it says, please continue the previous action. So now it's actually allowing me to create my first report. I click on the plus sign, and there it is. The first thing you need to do is to select your data source. On the right-hand side menu, there are a bunch of data sources that I can connect to. Obviously, the most intuitive one is Google Analytics, and then you have AdWords and YouTube. And this is interesting. That's a new one, the Firebase Analytics data. For the sake of these tutorials for beginners that I'm starting, beginners to intermediate, is Google Analytics is probably fine. I'm just going to say add to report. Okay, and just giving permissions to Google Data Studio to access my Google Analytics. That's perfectly fine. They are owned by the same company. I have no objection whatsoever. Okay, and we are set to create our first report. If you navigate to the top left-hand side here, you give your report a name. So I'm going to say, let's say users reports. Though it's not really just about users, it's about the page views and the sessions and the bounce rate. So what if we say website reports? Let's keep it very generic for now. Now, one thing to note is in Google Reports, they could be created using one page or multiple pages. I personally like creating multiple pages because I can access everything in a slide menu, navigation menu here at the top. So if I were to create more than one report on more than one page on this report, then I'll click on Add a Page. But now, let's start with this clean canvas that we have. Now, I've been experimenting with Data Studio, as I mentioned, and there are some design elements that you can create on this report directly, and it makes things really simple. And that's the purpose of today's video, is to introduce you to some of the elements that you need to integrate on this report, and also be mindful about your design, the layout that you put out. I'll show you some tips and tricks, and believe me, I've experimented a lot and I'm an expert in this. So let's see what you can do. The first thing you need to do for every report, there needs to be a header, just like any other page or web page. And the way you do it is you go here into Insert, and you can say Text, or you can say Rectangle. Rectangle is basically a design layout. So I'm going to start with this as being my first. I generally take around this much of height. And there it is. So this will be my header. The next thing I need to do is to insert a title for this. So I can use the text field right here. Notice how nice and intuitive it is. I generally keep my titles on the left-hand side. And I'm going to call it Website Overview. One thing to note here is this font is probably not that great, so I can highlight it. And then go here on the right-hand side and increase my font to 32. I like 32 to be the size of the titles. It stands out. And because it's a dark background, I generally go with a light text color. So that looks pretty. The other thing we can do is back to our rectangle. If you don't like that color, or if it does not match with your brand colors, you can change it easily just by selecting it. I can go here into Backgrounds and Borders and choose any other color. Now, because we're creating something funky, I'm going to go with purple. It's a little bit darker purple bluish color, so that's fine. And the other thing you need to do right here, which is fun to create, is you create the backgrounds of where your graphs and charts are going to be laid out. That way, they also stand out and they are contained in certain areas. So for the sake of today's video, we are creating 3 of them. The first one will hold the page views and the unique page views. The second one will hold the sessions and the users. And the third will hold the bounce rate and the exit percentage. So, same thing, I'm going to insert a rectangle. And I'm going to kind of keep it a little bit with a certain margin on both sides. Be mindful that that size has to be multiplied by 3 and kind of fit the area below. Now I don't like this color, it's a little bit too dark. What we'll do is we'll choose a very light bluish color, which is this one. I think this creates some kind of a container without actually being too contrasting on the page itself, and when you print this report it will stand out smoothly on the page. One thing I like to do is create a certain border radius here, and I like to choose something like 10. As you can see, there's a nice border radius here. If I'm satisfied with this, what I can do, let me just expand it slightly. I'll do Control C on Windows and Control V to copy and paste. And then I would just put it underneath. And one more, Control V. And I will drag it to where it needs to live. I think this is not bad. One thing I generally like to do as well, in addition to creating a title, is to create a one-liner underneath the header itself explaining what this particular page is about or report. So what I'll do, and notice how we can do it easily, if I wanted to move those whole three rectangles, I can just select them like this, scroll down, and drag them to... Oops, it didn't work out. Let's try it again. I can select these three. I can select those three and then drag them. For some reason it's not working. That's strange. It used to do it perfectly. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Anyway, let's not get too excited about this. So here we go. I have my one-liner right here. Actually, it's a little bit... I'm going to keep it like this. I like to keep the boxes at the exact same size, so I'm not sure. I think I messed it up slightly. Perfect. I can reduce this just by a little bit. I think now they are pretty much same. That's great. So I've dragged them down there, and now we are ready to start our first useful graph on this page. Let's see what we can do. So the first thing I need to do, as I mentioned, is to create something useful. So I go on to Insert if I want to, and choose what type of chart I need to insert into this particular report. I could choose a bar chart, or a combo chart, or a time series, or a pie chart, or a table. Now, in my opinion, for whatever reason, I've been creating so many dashboards and reports in the past 2 months, and the three that really stand out to me are the bar chart, the time series, and also the pie chart and the table. Oh well, this is pretty much everything, and probably didn't use the combo chart as much. So let's get now into creating a bar chart. You click on it here, and you select where you want to drag it. Okay, perfect. And notice how it automatically populated something for me so that I can see something there. What is the meaning of this particular chart? Well, everything is explained in the data section right here under the bar chart properties. So if I were to click on this, then the properties of that rectangle would be shown here. But if I were to click inside right on the chart itself, then I will get the properties of a chart. Now, charts in general have two things, data and style. Style is basically the colors, the font, and the layout, all these nifty kind of colorful things that make the graph stand out. And the data is actually the numbers, the metrics, the dimensions, and all the different elements that make the chart different. So in our case, the automatic way that Google Data Studio has set up is to choose the dimension being the medium. So in that case, in the case of the particular chart, which is the bar chart, it's going to show the dimensions right here at the horizontal axis, as you can see. And then the metrics is the sessions. So here we have the sessions going down in terms of that chart. Now, this is not what I'm interested in. I'm interested in something completely different. I would like to know on a monthly basis, And what we do is we'll go back 6 months in time and track our page views month by month. That's how I want it. So what I will do is I will keep that chart, not going to change anything about it. I'll go here to the dimensions, and instead of medium, I click on it. Notice you could choose it from here if you like, and if you want to just search for something because you know what you're looking for, you can click on the search icon here and then type what you want. And I want to look for month of year. Perfect. So what it does is it shows me, as you can see, the month name. So we're looking at May 2007 and April 2007. But I really want more than that. I would like to see the past 6 months. So if I wanted, what I can do is I can go back here and scroll down just a little bit. Okay, there it is. It wasn't very visible. Scroll down a little bit here. Here it says default date range, auto, or custom. Now, what does that mean? This is a nice concept to understand. On each page, you can have a high-level data field or date field that you can select the range, and it will apply to all the different graphs and charts on this particular page. Or if you want to be specific per each chart, you can select it. Now, auto means that it will apply to whatever is on the general page, on the high-level page. And we haven't really created it. So we could go ahead and create it, or we can use the custom. Custom means I want this particular chart to apply to the last 6 months. So what I can do, I like to go with April. Let me start from August 2016. So I can scroll back in time. August. And the end date, I would like it to be April 2017. So that's a 6-month period. There you go. You can see how the graph is laid out. Remember, this has been set to custom, which means if I add more graphs here, it's going to be different. But if I want to apply something that's going to apply to all of my charts on this page, I need to use something which is called the date range. And we will talk about this later. But for the sake of simplicity, this is good. And now, as you can tell, I see here the sessions on my graph going down. So clearly I'm not doing very well. That's a very good indicator of how you're performing. Now, another thing that I would like to add on this same chart is I would like to add the number of oh, hang on a second. We made a mistake. That particular graph does not need sessions. We are actually changing it to page views. So what I'll do is I'll go here to search and I'll type page views. There you go. Okay. It also shows me that it's kind of going down. One more thing you need to do, as you can tell here, the dates are messed up. I don't know if you've noticed. Why is that? Let's go back and I'll explain to you. Basically, if you scroll a little bit down here in the data area, you would notice that the date is the sort for the page views is based on page views going descending. But what we really need is the month of the year. So I would select month of the year and I would say ascending, because I would like to see it from August up to April 2017. Okay, that looks better. That looks more realistic. Now we can see that there was a better performance, more page views viewed in November and December, and then we declined slightly, but we're still within regional averages for this period of the year. That sounds good, and I think it looks good. Now, what if all of a sudden I decided this is not the right chart for me? I want to change something else. I want to go with a time series one. That all I have to do is, while I'm selecting this, I click on time series, and notice what happens. There you go. It automatically changes the chart without requiring me to change any of the settings that I have done in the past. That's a nice one. And what's in particular to this, the time series chart, and what I like the most is when you go to styles, there is an option here as you go down slightly to show the axis title. If I do this, it will add a title here showing that these are page views. And also, there is more settings here that I like. You can do the same thing for the axis title. So now it's showing month of the year. Let me go up slightly. This is my favorite. If you click on show points, it will put points right here for me. And I can even click on show data labels, and it will actually show me the numbers right here. This looks pretty, not only pretty, but useful. So we'll stick to this particular graph now. Going back to data, my chart is not really complete. What I want to add as well is the unique page views. And I can do it simply by scrolling down here to the data, and right underneath the metrics, add a new one. So I'm adding a new metric. I'm searching for it as unique page views. All right, going back, notice how I'll do the same thing. I'll scroll up, go to styles, and now I have series 2 in addition to series 1 that we've done. So I can scroll down and do the same thing. Show points, show data labels. Now in certain cases, if you don't have a lot of space, this could be a little bit tricky, and you have to kind of maybe move it up a little bit and make more room so that you can actually be able to see both numbers nicely. Again, it depends on your frame, and also it depends on your time period that you're looking at. So this looks pretty. And then what if you decide to go with different colors? What if you want to choose a different color for this line? This is pretty simple. For the red, I can click here and choose something else. Let's say I choose green. And going back up here for the series 1, which is the page views, I can click here and choose something more reddish. Okay, I think this looks good. What else can we do here? We can use a different line width. So I can make the green slightly more prominent. The stroke size could be a little bit more prominent. So that looks good as well. This is it for this particular graph. Now, there are other things. I would like to go on and complete this dashboard. And what I will do is I will end today's episode. I don't want it to stretch too long. In our next episode, we'll continue building this this very nice dashboard, and also what we will do is we will finalize it and learn new tricks and tips in building this great report. Until a new episode, don't forget, sign up for a free account with Webawk. I will send you templates like this that you can just copy and paste into your business and get going from there if you don't want to spend time creating these charts. Until a new episode with me, Danny, take care.